Good evening, y'all. It is Friday, the 13th, 2026, and I'm coming at you live from Tunnel Hills. This is the Hillbilly Think Tank with me, Spencer Keck, and I'm running for magistrate in District 3 here in Hardin County, where we believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, y'all, it is a very tough day here in Hardin County. This is a tough day because Saturday, tomorrow, will be the last paycheck for 1,600 employees at Blue Oval SK down there in Glendale. This is tough times because since 2021, the building of the Blue Oval SK plant had been a very exciting thing for this county. The school district was just really happy to be hopefully bursting at the seams with new students, new tax income. We had a housing boom there for a bit. And, everybody that was building that plant, boy, they sure spent good money in the area. They got a lot of small businesses that got a lot of customers, a lot of foot traffic. And now this is coming to an end. So, Ford owes it to us to do something, as they promised they would, to make sure that we get more people hired again in that facility and that they retool it, because this is a travesty for good folks here in Hardin County. Now, it's also the 13th day of my freedom from balderdash, buying balderdash, that is, from balding Jeff Bezos. I am 13 days free and clear from Amazon. And I really think it's definitely appropriate with what's going on right now to make sure, hey, we're buying local. We've got to buy local. No matter what else we do, we've got to buy local. We've got to support all the folks that have lost their jobs. If we buy local, hopefully we'll have more jobs for them. Although, the folks went to a job fair recently that was held, and, they found a lot of them were able to find some employment at the job fair, but they found that employment just didn't match the living wages that they had there at Blue Oval SK. So we've got to do something to get that back. But one of the big things, again, we can do, buy local. Went out tonight, went to Little Charlie's Pizza, bought local. That establishment actually pays its folks a good wage, and you can get some really good pizza, and it's authentic. Charlie is originally, when he was a teenager, he's an immigrant from Sicily. So he's a really good guy, gives a military discount and gives a discount to EMS and other emergency service folks. So really, it's got to support him. And I did tonight. Just had some really good, healthy pizza. So let's keep our neighbors in mind and find what can we do to make sure to help these folks. All right. So we got Tom Armstrong is on here. Tom, good to see you. Tom says, happy Valentine's Day, y'all, in 5 minutes. Yeah. Happy Friday. That's right. And Tom says, for groceries, because all of us need to eat, I like Value Market, even though Kroger, admittedly a union employer, is closer. Yeah, and I've been trying to make sure that I buy local groceries, and also, we've got some good grocers here in Elizabethtown besides Kroger, and it is local. Of course, we're getting soon. We're going to have another grocery store open up on Ring Road that everybody seems excited about. Not far from my house here, we're going to have a Wawa opening up. That'll be more local business. That they'll get my money. The closer I can buy something to the house and keep my money here in Tunnel Hills or in District 3, I like to make sure I do that too. So I try to do that all the time. And that's going to be my dedication. I'm not helping out Jeff Bezos. I'm helping out my neighbors because my neighbors are very important. All right. Yeah. Tom says farmers market season is approaching. That's right. Looking forward to some fresh goodies. Man, I can't wait. We have one of the best here in Hardin County, Wednesdays and Saturdays. So I'm looking forward. That'll, summertime is my break from teaching, and I like to go down that farmer's market. And I've got a plan with one of the folks that I teach with. We're planning in March, approaching a local farmer, finding some either a whole hog or a whole beef, and splitting this whole animal between two families. We think that if we buy local from a local farmer that way, hey, we're going to, number one, know what we're actually getting, know the quality of what we're getting, and we're going to know that we're helping a local farmer. That's extremely important also, real big important. Hey, Jonathan, welcome, thanks. What are my thoughts on the upcoming No Kings 3? Well, I'm sure the president will have some interesting memes for that. I just think that waving signs around, yeah, it's good to show everybody that we actually are out here. But if we're not hitting them economically, the oligarchs don't care about us waving signs in their faces, in my opinion. I, went out to the last two. We'll see if I go out to this next one, or if I just keep on finding more ways to hit them in their pocketbook. I've already unsubscribed, like I was saying, from Amazon. Now I'm on day 13. I'm going to be looking for other fascists to make sure I don't buy from. So making sure if it's a store also, not just online retailers, but any store, as we know, Marriott likes to let all the ICE agents come in there. I'm not going to go to that hotel chain anymore, and I have a whole lot of points with them. So I'm making sure that I get and hit them where it hurts them the most, the pocketbook, because they won't do any change unless it hurts their pocketbook. So if we're not buying from them, they're going to have to go tell Fat Donnie that he needs to cut out the horse shit and get off this fascist bandwagon. Right now, they're not doing that because they're making money off the grift, and they're helping the grifter in chief do as much grifting as he possibly can. All right. Tom says protests like No Kings are good for finding like-minded folks to network for more pressure on the elected folks. Yes, it is. But again, the elected folks aren't going to feel any pressure unless we cut off those folks who are giving them money. So who's giving them money? Amazon. Who is it that is funding their political campaigns? Amazon. Musk. Go on down the line. If they don't feel the pain in their pocketbooks, they're going to keep up their super PACs. They're going to keep on handing lobbyist money to the politicians, and the politicians won't give a shit because the politicians aren't coming to rescue us. and they're not listening right now. They don't, how often are they on the news for this Epstein Class crap? Constantly. But are they, we've got Massey that actually turned against the party here in this state. But he's one of very few in the nation that has stepped away from the guardian of the pedophiles propaganda and is actually pushing back. He's not pushing back on everything I like him to, but that's one of the biggest things. If we're not going to do anything to the Epstein class, we have lost all hope of the middle class and the poverty class making any change and having any voice in our democracy. All right, y'all. So I hope you do have a great Valentine's Day. And just please keep those folks at Blue Oval SK in your mind, because this is 1,600 people that are getting their last paycheck tomorrow on Valentine's Day. I doubt they'll actually have a Valentine's Day. So I'm sure they'll be holding on to that paycheck until they can find a job that'll pay the $20-some an hour and more that they were getting at Blue Oval. So, all right. That's a bit of a heavy heart for me tonight, but y'all, we got to love our neighbor as ourselves, because in Kentucky, united we stand, divided we fall. We can't be divided if we're helping each other out. And if we're loving our neighbor as ourselves, we won't be divided. Tom says it's surprising to see Massey on the correct side of any issue, but I'm glad of it. And yeah, I completely, totally agree. But this is, of course, one really important issue. I mean, hey, man, it's amazing. It's surprising. I agree. All right, y'all. Bless your corazon. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about the channel, please, if you would, so I can get the word out and I can get the votes. Vote for me, Magistrate, District 3. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, copycats. Yep. And hopefully everyone can step up. And hopefully everyone will as soon as possible. And to step up, we must hit them in their wallet. That's all there is to it.